I support the payments idea, or at least in theory, while not the figure, as it removed the hierarchy of victimhood. I mean, I don't think one perceived group can have a monopoly on being a victim, as opposed to provisional IRA compared to the state forces. I don't think there should be that, and I think the figure works against I think it's a great equaliser, really, is what I'm saying in theory. But one of my other difficulties with the document released by Eames Bradley was the British government are the ones that are going to be chairing the process of truth and reconciliation. Now, regardless of your angle on this conflict, they were involved as state forces in it. So I don't think they should be the ones chairing it. I think it should be an international organisation, like someone like the United Nations. Because if you take, for example, the murder of Pat Finucane, you would be expecting the Finucane family, to accept the British government to chair a truth and reconciliation hearing on the murder of Pat Finucane. I can't get my head around that personally. But I think ultimately the victims, the people that suffered throughout, the family of the victims, are ultimately the ones, through consultation with the British government, will be the ones whether they accept it or not, and I think we have to support them on whatever they do. I do think the figure of £12,000 distorts some of the good work within the document, though.
For me, I understood why Eames and Bradley were trying to do that, because a victim, it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican, a loyalist, a soldier, or whatever, you're still going to leave people behind, and regardless of their rights and the wrongs of their actions, a family is still going to be bereaved. And that's where I would be in that. I think what Eames and Bradley were trying to do, they were correctly motivated, but I do think that any sort of a payment is totally and utterly wrong. And to go off on a tangent when we're talking about the payment in terms of any inquiry, I would welcome an inquiry. I really would, big style, because I tell you what, there'll be an awful lot more would come out. Read Marty McGartlin's book, One Dead Man Walking, 50 Dead Man Living, and you'll see all of the stuff that went on. So I think there is no one blameless in what has gone on. I don't sit back and sort of say, because I come from a Protestant unionist background, but I don't sit and just blame sort of the Republican movement of the IRA. With the same token, I don't believe in this state violence bit as well. Everyone is to blame. There's all part and parcel of that, and for this to continue to be trotted out, the reality is mothers, fathers, sons, daughters were lost. And that hurts like absolute blazes. I'll show you, this isn't to be melodramatic. 25th of May 1996, Chicago Pizza Pie Factory, INLA feud. Desmond McCleary was shot as close as to you. 10 years down the line, that still haunts me. I have no difficulty saying it. 10 years down the line, I'm still seeing a consultant psychiatrist because it absolutely mucked my head up. I'm training social work, I'm training youth and community work, I counsel people all day long. So see, with respect, where I'm coming from, and what I like your idea, Mike, let's start talking about people. Start what people need, what counselling, what support. And you see this, getting into the debate about a hierarchy of victims, gone days, have I not been doing that enough? And that's where, so I don't agree with that, but I do think monies should be put for real support. And the only way we're going to do it is taking time with people and time with individuals. That's all we're not. That's how it's going to be a long process, a long process. And it'll, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. So we can kick that around all day long. Let's think about people who've been hurt and maimed and wounded and damaged and dear knows what. And thank God, a lot of the younger people now are not going to really experience that. But there's got to be a mature attitude from those of us who were around during that period to say there was rights and wrongs and all. No one is blameless in this. Absolutely not. But we're blameless if we don't grab it by the scruff of the neck and make a better Northern Ireland and a better world for our children tomorrow.
I would just agree with David. I think you're thinking more of going forward and people helping people who've actually been affected. I think we should draw a line under inquiries. The amount of money that was spent on Bloody Sunday, Billy Wright, Pat Finucane, Robert Hamill, that money would be better spent on counselling people and making a better future for us all going forward. We all know what happened Bloody Sunday, and things like that. We all know what has happened. We should kind of draw a line underneath it and move forward.
Would that include the UMA inquiry?
Yes, honestly, yeah, I think so. I think that's all. As David said, there's collusion on both sides right through, and I don't think any purpose will be served.
A family came to see me Father had been in one of the organisations, and it doesn't really matter which side it was. He went out one night to do damage. And what I'm going to ask you to do is imagine that you're 6 years of age, okay? And you're incredibly happy. You have several brothers and sisters. You're all quite young, all around the same age, so you're really, really happy. You love your mum to bits. She doesn't work except at being your mum and looking after you. Gets you up in the morning and all this sort of stuff. It's not that you don't love Dad, but Dad works, so you don't see that much of him, and he goes out a lot at night, so you know you're much closer to Mum. Okay, 6 years old, Dad goes out some night. You wake up early the next morning, and you know there's something wrong. You go downstairs. Mum's in her dressing gown. Her eyes are red. Her cheeks are puffed up. You know without having to ask that your father's dead. Okay? Now, for the next 20-odd years, all your mum does is get up in the morning to get you up, fed, dressed, washed, off to school. She's there to pick you up at the school gates, kiss your bruises, help you with your homework, make sure you have the best chance in life. You and your brothers and sisters grow up, get married, get your own homes. And suddenly you look at your mum and you see a woman who's old before her time. She's exhausted because she's no reason to get out of bed in the morning anymore because you've all gone. So what do you feel? You feel incredibly guilty. What sort of a life has my mother had? All she's done is look after us. And you can't do anything about it because you can't turn the clock back, obviously. But even if you could afford to send her on a world cruise or whatever, she wouldn't go. That's not the point. That life has been largely run. The interesting thing is, when you get mum out of the room and you get the children talking, they split down the middle. Half of them say, none of this would have happened if Dad hadn't joined that organisation. But the other half say, how dare you disrespect our father's memory? You don't know what it was like in the 70s. You don't know what motivated him to do what he did. And it is clear to me that when Mum does pass away, the funeral will be the last time all the siblings will be together, and after that they will split, and that means that cousins will not be allowed to play with cousins. And the troubles will live on into another generation. And one of the jobs I have with my colleagues is to try and intervene in some way, and I do not yet know how, but the education system is clearly the best bet that we can identify, and try and break that.